Welcome back to another video, and today we're taking a closer look at patch 14.21 and how the tier list is looking after all the changes that came in last week. So let's get straight into it and start off with the top lane. In the S tier we have Aatrox, Darius, Mundo, Jax, Kennen, Malphite, Poppy, Riven, Shen and Zac. We saw quite a few changes here last patch with nerfs to Camille, Gwen and Volibear, who all moved down last week. Teemo's and Aurelia's buffs saw them move up from B to A as well, and are definitely seeing better results so far. Other buffs to Gangplank and Kayle haven't had quite the same impact though, so they're still in the B tier for now. Let's have a quick look at some of the best champions to play in the top lane then, and our overall pick to play at every rank this week is Darius. This week he's shot back up into the S tier, and he's proving once again that he's not messing around. He has an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage, tons of carry and snowball potential, and can easily 1v2 once he gets a lead. There's a ton of different lanes that he can absolutely dominate, and once you learn how to abuse those easy matchups and survive in the hard ones, he's a great champion to main this patch. If you're a high elo top laner or if you're looking for a champion to one trick, you can't go wrong with Riven though. She really is back to her best at the moment, and just winning a ridiculous amount of games, especially towards higher ranks. So if you have got what it takes to play her consistently, there's not many better options. Aside from maybe Shen, who is our must pick or ban top lane champ this week. And the main reason for this is he has one of the highest win rates in the game at pretty much every single rank. Shen is genuinely unstoppable at the moment, so if you haven't been playing it and abusing it already, give it a go. Let's get into the jungle next then, and in the S tier we have Graves, Kayn, Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, Lilia, Nocturne, Udyr, Viego, Warwick and Zac. The jungle didn't actually have that many changes here this patch, as it was only a few nerfs to Fiddlesticks, Elise and Karthus, which all brought them down from S to A. We did also see a few nerfs to Viego too, but he's still going strong in the S tier for now. Speaking of the S tier, it's back to that collection of solo queue monsters like Graves, Lee Sin and Kha'Zix. And the jungle role in general just feels like there's a lot of variety to choose from. You've got AP picks, you've got tanks, you've got solo queue machines like the ones we've just mentioned, so whatever your playstyle, whichever champions you prefer, it's a great time to be a jungler. Our overall pick of the patch to play in the jungle though, at every single rank, just has to be Nocturne. The lethal tempo changes had a positive impact, but to be honest, he was already strong. He's got a very strong item build with lots of durability and damage. He's got easy jungle clears, he can tear through objectives, and those ultimate ganks allow him to snowball and carry super easily. He definitely does get banned more often at lower ranks, but the higher you go, the more players forget about it. So lock him in and enjoy the LP. For our high elo or one trick pick of the patch though, it's going to have to be Graves, because this guy is just an absolute demon in the jungle when he's viable, and when he's viable, he's often OP. Graves takes a bit of practice to optimize his jungle clearing and his efficiency and tempo, but when you get the hang of him, you'll quickly understand just how broken he can be. Then we've got our must pick or ban champion in the jungle this patch, which has to go to Kha'Zix, because the bug is back, and in solo queue, there's really not many better champions to 1v9 with. Kha'Zix has always had periods of being OP, and now that he seems to be back to his best, it's definitely time to start playing him again. Moving down into the mid lane next step, and in the S tier we have Ahri, Anivia, Cassiopeia, Corki, Hui, Lux, Sylas, Syndra and Vex. It's safe to say that Corki's buffs made him a little bit broken. Qiyana's buffs also brought her back up to the A tier here and in the S tier for high elo. Talon also saw huge improvements with his buffs, and Aurelion Sol, Galio and Kassadin all felt the impact of their nerfs. Hui was another mid laner that did get nerfed too, but he's going to stay in the S tier despite not being quite as OP as he was before. Swain's rework definitely hasn't quite lived up to the hype just yet though. The changes themselves are pretty unique and interesting, but he's simply just too undertuned at the moment. With buffs on the way next patch, let's see if he does get a bit too overbuffed and become instantly broken. If you do want to stay up to date with the best Swain builds over the next few patches, then head to our website by clicking the link in the description. Our overall pick of the patch to play in the mid lane though is Sylas. Now it doesn't really matter what rank you are, it doesn't really matter what comp you're playing him in, because Sylas is always useful and can easily carry any game when he gets a lead. His ultimate makes him incredibly versatile, and if you get a good draft against champions with great ults to steal, it just feels so good to play him. Our high elo pick of the patch though is Syndra. And over the last few months, especially since the start of Split 3, she's really cemented herself as one of the best picks in the mid lane. She has crazy strong power spikes through the early to mid game and has some very strong scaling too, dealing insane AoE damage with those QE combos later on, and of course one-shotting carries with her 200 years ultimate. A must pick or ban champion here though is of course going to have to be Corki. His buffs completely sent him over the edge, and not only is he OP in the mid lane, but also the bot lane, and some players are even playing him in the top lane and the jungle as well. Corki's win rate went up by around 6% in the mid lane and the bot lane, so if you aren't already abusing it, we definitely recommend banning it for the next week at least until those first nerfs land. Well, let's get on to the AD carries next then, and in the S tier we have Ashe, Corki again of course, Jhin, Jinx, Kog'Maw and Seraphine. Kai'Sa moves down from S to A in our overall tier list, but she does stay in the S tier in high elo, along with Caitlyn, who's really popular there too. We've moved Sivir up from B to A last week with her buffs, and on reflection she's going to keep her spot there. Xayah also moves up from B to A. So overall, you just cannot go wrong with Ashe right now, no matter what rank you are. Ashe is blasting and winning so many games across the board. She's got great poke in lane and strong 2v2 potential, she's got perma slows and great gank setup with the arrows, and then she's also got fantastic scaling into the late game, allowing her to kite her way through teams without too much trouble. For our high elo pick though, we're going to have to go for Caitlyn this patch. She's currently got a 13% ban rate in Diamond 2 and above, and when you look at how strong she can be in the right hands, it's fairly easy to understand. Early collector rush is a big theme for AD carries right now in the meta, and she can abuse this really well with fantastic early game damage before transitioning into a rotating poking turret taking machine. Our must pick or ban in the bot lane though is an obvious one, and it's the same as the mid lane hit, with Corki just being super duper strong. Aside from him though, if he is already gone, you could consider Kog'Maw, because in the right games and the right drafts, this champion is very difficult to shut down. Finally, let's have a look at the supports then, and in the S tier we have Janna, Lulu, Nami, Poppy, Rell, Senna and Thresh. Now we didn't have too many changes here last patch for this role, but we did have some nerfs to Senna who stays in S, and Taric got nerfed too, but he also stays in the A tier. Our overall support pick to play here though goes to Nami, who's proving to be one of the best supports in the game so far this split, and having fantastic results across the board. She just has everything you need to excel from this role, with a bunch of utility, crowd control, sustain, poke, and even surprising damage too, with her E empowering her allies to deal some juicy extra burst. Of course, Nami Lucian is still super strong, but the thing is she basically works alongside anyone you can pick, making her a fantastic support champion to main. For high elo though, it just has to be Rell. She is probably the most reliable playmaking, engaging, initiating support you can play. And although she does have low range and she's fairly punishable, if you can play her well enough, there's really not many better options. If your team has a good amount of follow up for those big wombo combo engages, you're going to have a lot of fun and farm a lot of LP. Our pick or ban recommendation for support this patch though is going to have to be Poppy. She's been such a strong support for quite some time now and still has one of the highest win rates in the game here. She's already been nerfed, but some more nerfs are on the way for her next week, so let's see how those impact her going forward. But for the time being, if you're already playing Poppy and having a good time, just crack on. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of our updated tier list video for patch 14.21. Stay tuned to learn more about all the changes coming next week with our 14.22 patch preview, and feel free to subscribe if you did enjoy the video. If you have any questions about the tier list, then don't forget to jump into our Discord where you can chat with all of us here at Mobalytics. Thanks everyone for watching as always, and we'll see you next time. Take care.